Hello and welcome back, everyone. This is another anime review for One Punch Man Season 3. Season 3, Episode 3. God, my brain. It's not here today, much like every other day. Anyway, yeah, we're here with Episode 3 of Season 2. And this is where shit starts really hitting the fan, I guess, where the season's really setting up itself for the main event, I guess. I forget exactly how long this season's supposed to last, but it's definitely going to be one that's going to be interesting. Although there are a few complaints I have right now. And I'm honestly curious if they're just going to try and, reorganize some things for this. Though I think at least some of them, they're probably just outright skipping. For instance, I looked back through the manga a little bit just to see what's been missing and skipped, because I feel like there's been bits and pieces that have been left out. And I was correct. For instance, there's a part where Saitama is actually, tasked directly from one of, the Hero Association people to track down a missing cat, which turns out to, be a monster cat, even though the picture depicts a cute little furry fuzzball. There's some other characters like I'm blanking on her name. Blizzard. There's some side stories with some of the other characters adding more development that seem to have been skipped. There's a side story specifically with Blizzard. Some with Genos. I prefer Genos. Some with him that are missing. Heck, there's a whole, section when Garo first shows up in the Hero Association, when he just, outright kills all of the villains that are gathered there. And it seems like that got skipped over, too, unless I, missed it. Because there might have been some end credit stuff that I skipped over, without realizing it. I might have to go back and take a look at those to see if I had missed some or not. Either way, that I don't think was shown unless it was end credits, but I'm pretty sure they also skipped over the backstory that Garo has, because we had a flashback of that while he's in that Hero Association explaining who he is, which seems to have just been kind of either completely skipped or just glossed over. So maybe that'll get thrown in at some point. I don't know. Hell, there's even a small scene in this episode that got skipped over that I noticed. But let's actually get on to what actually happens in this episode, which is just we get a shot of Silverfang and apparently his brother meeting up with each other and teaming up, going to look out for Garo, who was Silverfang's previous student, who God, I'm trying to remember if this was explained or not, but he was once the student of Silverfang. He got kicked out for one reason or another. I forget if it's said or not, so I won't spoil it for those who don't know. But point is, he got kicked out. He doesn't like using the techniques he learned there because it reminds him of the old man, but as we see in his fight with Moomin Rider and the tank top army at this point, yeah, he crushes everyone he comes in contact with. He even meets up with a little kid. He has a nice little exchange with the kid. I'm surprised that stayed. Then again, I guess it's part of a plot point just to be hey, I know your secrets. It's all listed in this little handy guidebook, which he does use against the Spring Sword dude and I believe it was Golden Ball, to take them out. It's hey, look, your shit's written down here. I know what you can do. To the point where when the Spring Sword dude comes in to stab him, he just nope, hand on the blade. Now you can't move. Because at this point, if he tries to take the sword back, Garo's got a hand on it. If he doesn't, he's disarmed and he can't do anything. And Golden Ball at that point has tried taking him out by ricocheting all of these balls around in this alleyway and then taking a final shot, and Garo just bitch slaps it away. Doesn't care. There was some good action in this. It's not bad action, is what I should say. It's good. it just doesn't feel like the first season, and that might just come down to the studio and the director. It doesn't feel the same, which is disappointing. Hell, God, I'm jumping all over the place with this, but whatever, it's fine. It's fine. Because those that are watching this have probably seen the episode and know what I'm talking about anyway. But, yeah, no, there's a point where Saitama meets up with him. Now, Saitama, being our hero, doesn't even recognize him as the hero killer, or, what is he, hero hunter, I guess, is what his name is. Or at least what they're calling him. But they run into him. He runs into Garo. Garo tries to take him out, thinking Saitama knows who he is and is trying to pick a fight with him. Thinking Saitama's a nobody. Which he's technically is, in, the public eye anyway. But he goes to take out Saitama with, a shoulder chop. It's Saitama, it does nothing. And I feel like right with that scene of, the hit connecting, and Saitama just giving him this dead look of, are you trying to rob me? Are you... don't get in my way when I'm shopping kind of attitude. I feel like there could have been a much better, it is almost taken directly out of the manga, that exact panel is that scene. I think I would have shaded it more. If you're asking me as an artist, I would have probably gone, harsher shading. Because I feel like it would have been more necessary for this. And probably given it far more dramatic effect with the deadpan, line delivery. Just being hilarious in the contradiction of it. But no, Saitama just shoulder chops him back. Garo completely passes out as Saitama goes to buy a wig for reasons that either you've put together, or if not, here you go, because it's going to be revealed in the next episode, I guarantee it. He's going to fucking impersonate Chiranko and take his place in that tournament. So welcome to the tournament arc, everyone. Anyway, there's a scene missing there where Garo wakes up in a pile of trash and doesn't remember how he got there. So I'm curious, because that's not in here, if it's going to either A, show up in the next episode, or B, they're going to make it seem like he actually does remember Saitama. Here's also the other thing I was curious about, and you guys tell me, because maybe I'm crazy, but were the bananas that Saitama was just giving everyone in the hospital JPEGs of a picture that was taken of a banana? Because it really looks like it's just a JPEG. It looks like he just plopped a JPEG there and it's just rocking back and forth. It really looks like a JPEG. It feels out of place. Oh god. But yeah, no, we got some action. It's not bad action. I enjoyed it. There's some good laughs in here. Just Saitama's deadpanness with just his I don't know who you are, which happened twice in this, which is just it's his attitude. It's his attitude. It's the way he is. It's kind of annoying, I think, to a degree. For Chiranko, him not knowing Chiranko makes sense. Nobody knows Chiranko other than Silverfang, who's his teacher. But even Tank Top Master, the fact that he didn't remember him, because I'm pretty sure he met him in season 1 at one point. It's a little annoying that it doesn't really tick. But, maybe that's just personal preference and that kind of joke. Plenty of revelations of Garo's skills. He's almost kind of like Goku, where he's a fighting savant. To the point where he learns how people fight by seeing them fight for a handful of seconds. Because, that action with Tank Top Master could have only lasted 2 minutes, I'm gonna guess. Until Moomin comes in and is just yo, wait, you don't have to kill him, blah, blah, blah. And then it's nope, I know how you fight now. You can't beat me. Also, if I remember right, no, that might be revealing spoilers, so I won't say that. All in all, I would say good episode. I enjoyed it. It got some fighting in there. It moved the plot forward. I am disappointed looking back at how much is kind of seemed like it's been just brushed aside and skipped over when there was good character development in there and just revelations about characters. But yeah, it's a solid episode. I enjoyed it. I'm curious how you guys enjoyed the episode. If you think this action was, better than or maybe just even with the previous previous season, Like, I'd love to see feedback like that if you guys would, let me know how you feel the animation and the action is compared to, Season 1. Hell, even the art style. Because, for me, it's very close, but I still feel like there's slight differences. And even kind of the way Saitama's talking feels a little different. And I don't know if that's just down to, the voice acting director or coach or whatever. I forget what that position is actually called. But if it's down to them just giving him, the way he should say it and it's not the same. Which it could very well be. But, yeah, I think that more or less wraps it up. We got the tease of him buying the wig as Chiranko and, an entire joke about how Genos is, just rapidly talking to the doctor to, his professor or doctor or, God, I can't even remember the doctor's name, but because he's so unimportant and he shows up so little. But talking to him about getting Saitama hair implants because he thinks the freaking wig is a cry for help. Oh, God. But, yeah, no, I'm excited because I have a good idea. I remember at least watching part of this tournament arc, and I think I cut out near the end, because that's at the point where I had caught up to where the manga had currently been at, was at a certain point in this tournament arc, which I think was near the end of it, I think is where I cut off, because that's where I caught up with everything. So once we get near the end, I'll start being blind on this shit, and I'll probably jump back to the manga after I see the episode and just see what the differences is here and there. Because I'll be reading it at the same time as that's playing out. Assuming the season gets that far. The way they're rushing it, it feels like it is. It does make me wonder what's going to change. With the first 2 episodes, it feels like they rushed forward to get to the tournament. Hell, I guess including this one too, because it's just the start of the introduction of that thing. There was also a point, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in the episode when Saitama walks in to meet Chiranko in the hospital, in the manga his head is completely wrapped in bandages until a certain point where he tears them off. I'm trying to remember, but I don't think the episode actually had him wrapped up like that. I don't think they gave him the entirety of his head being wrapped. I think they just left it off, and maybe that's just to help save on the animation budget, if that's the case. Either way, if I remember right from the episode, because it's been a couple hours since I've seen it, his bandages and his injuries seemed less than what they were in the manga, which is interesting to see. Just the differences between these two things. So yeah, here's what I'm going to do from now on. Alright? I'm going to be rereading the manga chapters that each episode now covers. And I'm going to start comparing and contrasting during these reviews, just because I'm curious. More on a personal level, because I've always found it fascinating how TV producers and directors and what have you decide how they're going to change up these things. So for me, at least, I'm curious to just compare and contrast this, and when other Brandon, the Amoeba, drops back in, I'll continue doing that and pointing out these differences. I don't know if he'll get in on reading too. He might, since it'll be shorter stuff. But at the very least, I'll be throwing that in there too, just to see how they're different and how it's kind of how things play out. And if you're curious what happened to our Dragon Ball Super thing, we're getting there. Once he's back into this and in full swing, we'll probably take care of the Tournament of Power. And should there be more of Dragon Ball Super after that, aside from manga, clearly, if there's more of Dragon Ball Super anime, we will cover that as well at some point. But I think that's it. Thank you guys for listening. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, ring the little doo-dong down there if you really feel like it. I would greatly appreciate your patronage. And we'll see you next week. Bye.